Hey there guys, and welcome back to Just Chatting Football. Yes, welcome to this Game Week 5 head-to-head predictions video. But before we get into those predictions, I have Game Week 4 results to go through first. So we'll go through each game, we'll tally up the points, and we will see who came out on top in Game Week 4. So let's kick things off with Chelsea versus Crystal Palace. As you can see, both myself and Charlotte went for a Chelsea win. It was a close first half, but Chelsea pulled through in the end and won the game 4-0. So that gives us both a point in this first game. Next up we have Everton versus Brighton, and we both went for the same result. We both went for an Everton win, and Everton of course came out on top, winning 4-2, and that gives us both a point in this second game as well. In the third game of the weekend, we saw Leeds versus Manchester City. And once again, we both went for the same result. We both went for a Manchester City win. But things didn't quite pan out that way. Leeds playing some lovely football at the start of this season, and they managed to get themselves a nice 1-1 draw. Sadly, no points there for either myself or Charlotte, so the score stays at 2-2 for this game week. And the final game on Saturday saw Newcastle come up against Burnley. I did go for a Newcastle win. Charlotte went for a bit of a boring draw. It wasn't quite the low scoring game I thought it was going to be, with Newcastle coming out on top, beating Burnley 3-1. So that means I take the next point in this game week and I take the lead at 3-2. Now moving into the Sunday games, we'll kick things off with Leicester versus West Ham. We both went for a Leicester win. How wrong we were. West Ham continue to perform without Moyes in the stadium, and they won the game 3-0. So once again, no points for either of us, and the score stays at 3-2 to myself. Moving on from that shocker and on to Southampton versus West Brom. I went for a Southampton win. Charlotte went for a West Brom win. The result in the end though was a Southampton win, beating West Brom 2-0. So once again, I take the point in this one, and that moves me ahead of Charlotte 4-2. Next up we had Arsenal versus Sheffield United. I went for an Arsenal draw in this one. Charlotte went for an Arsenal win. It was quite close in the end, but Arsenal did come out on top, beating Sheffield United 2-1. That gives Charlotte a point and brings her closer to me at 4-3. And now we move on to Wolves versus Fulham. I went for a Wolves win in this one. Charlotte went for a draw, and Wolves managed to take the win at 1-0, giving me an extra point and moves me further ahead of Charlotte at 5-3. And so we move into the last two games of Game Week 4, and what a shocker these were. Starting with Manchester United versus Spurs, this was the game that broke the happiest man in the world, Patrice Evra. Myself and Charlotte both went for a Spurs win. Spurs ran out winners and thumped Manchester United 6-1. With both of us going for Spurs, we both take a point, and that moves us on to 6-4 for this game week. So there's no chance of a comeback sadly for Charlotte, but we will move into the final game of Game Week 4, which was Aston Villa versus Liverpool. Now I went for a Villa win, Charlotte went for a draw. I thought it was going to be close, but boy, what a game. Villa won 7-2. That gives me another point this week, which means the final result of the week is 7 to me and 4 to Charlotte, finally giving me a win in this head-to-head series. So the series score now is 2 to Charlotte, 1 to me, and we move into game week number 5. Okay, so the plan was to have Charlotte join us in today's video. Unfortunately, Charlotte is now unwell, so is unable to be with us, but she has given me her predictions. I will go through those, I'll go through my predictions, and we will see where we stand on Monday once all the games have been played. So, game week number 5, and we have some fantastic fixtures this weekend, and we kick things off with what could be a very important game for both of these teams already so early in the season. We have Everton versus Liverpool. Now, of course, Everton are sitting top of the table at the moment, 4 wins out of 4, +7 goal difference. You couldn't really ask for more. Liverpool, they were unbeaten for the first 3 games of the season. Then they came up against the phenomenal Aston Villa. As we heard earlier, Liverpool lost 7-2. So this is really important for Liverpool, and they really need to push for that win to just turn things around. I think Liverpool could struggle again in this one. I believe Liverpool will have Mane back, so that will change the game, because for me, Mane is the difference in that team. But this is probably going to be a bit controversial, but I'm not sure they're going to have enough to do the business against Everton at the moment. Charlotte agrees. She was astounded by Liverpool's capitulation against Aston Villa, and she thinks that this could mentally affect them going into this game. Big Merseyside derby, but we've both gone for Everton. Then next up we have Chelsea versus Southampton. Chelsea playing at home. Chelsea should have all of their players back and fit, potentially not Mendy in goal, so Kepa coming back into goal. He's got a lot to prove. Defence seems a little bit more solid now. I know it's only a few games in, but if we've got Thiago Silva and Zuma playing together, I think they should do all right against Southampton. Chelsea just need to be a little bit careful with the quick break that we know that Southampton have got. That's something to watch out for, but myself and Charlotte do think that Chelsea will see this game out and should win this one. So we're both going for a Chelsea win. Then we have another big game. We have Manchester City versus Arsenal. We have Pep Guardiola against Mikel Arteta. Once again, I'm not too sure if Manchester City have their strikers back and fit. We'll just have to wait to see who they line up front. I'm not sure Sterling is the best solution to that problem. But yeah, I am also expecting quite a few inconsistencies with Arsenal once again this season. So I am going for a Manchester City win. Charlotte is also going for a Manchester City win. She thinks that they'll have a bit too much for Arsenal's defence. It all comes down to who is going to be playing at the back for Arsenal. There are some errors in that back line. So we'll see what happens. Both of us going for Manchester City. Newcastle United versus Manchester United is our next game of this game week. And finally, we have a difference of opinion. Newcastle United have played 4, won 2, drawn 1 and lost 1, giving them 7 points. Manchester United have played 3, they've won 1 and lost 2, which leaves them sitting way down in 16th on just 3 points out of their first 3 games. It's not been the best start for Manchester United. I do think they should have brought in a new centre-back. That didn't happen. They have brought in Cavani. Do I think they needed Cavani? I'm not sure they did, but he is a quality player. He's going to bring goals, so maybe that can make a difference. I'm not sure if he's going to be ready to start against Newcastle, but we will see. I do think Newcastle are also going to do very well against this United defence. On that basis, I am going for a draw between Newcastle and Manchester United. Charlotte, on the other hand, thinks that Manchester United can turn things around, and she has gone for a Manchester United win. If they don't start picking up some points soon, if they don't start picking up some wins, then Ollie could be in trouble, and Ollie could be one of the first managers gone this season. Next up, we have the bottom 2 teams facing off against each other nice and early. We have Sheffield United versus Fulham. Both teams here have played 4 games. Both teams here have lost 4 games. Out of the 2 teams though, Sheffield United have shown a bit more about them. It'll be good to see how Chris Wilder copes with a little bit of pressure on him, because I think that they draw a lot of their energy from their fans, from their home crowd. But I think that they will start to turn this around against Fulham, who I have picked as my favourite to drop straight back down to the Championship. They just haven't been performing very well, and as I mentioned in my predictions table, I do think that they are going to be the whipping boys this year. And it's looking like that is the case. I'm not sure Scott Parker has the quality to keep them up, and I think it's just going to be a long season for them. So I'm going for a Sheffield United win, and Charlotte is also going for a Sheffield United win. And we move on. Now this next game could go either way. It could be an absolutely beautiful game to watch, but it could also go the other way. It could be a bit of a dull, boring, both teams sit back and try and let the other team play onto them so that each team tries to play the counter. But I'm quite looking forward to this one. We have Crystal Palace versus Brighton. Both teams have started quite brightly. Brighton not picking up the points that I think that they deserve out of their performances. But if they can shore up their defence, if they can be a little bit more solid at the back, I think they're going to do pretty well. And so I think they're going to have just maybe a bit too much for Crystal Palace in this one. And I'm going for a Brighton win. Charlotte, not so certain on this one. She likes this matchup. She thinks that they will just cancel each other out though, and she is going for a draw. And so we move on to a nice little London derby. We have Tottenham Hotspur up against West Ham United. Now, West Ham have just blown all of my predictions out of the water. They beat Wolves 4-0, they beat Leicester 3-0. I mean, astonishing stuff. David Moyes, stay at home, and West Ham will just keep winning. They have taken me a bit by surprise, but I think that Tottenham are going to have a little bit too much for them in this one. They have started the season pretty darn well as well, and obviously there was that 6-1 win over Manchester United. Football last week was crazy. So they are sat nicely up in 6th position on 7 points. I think they will have just too much for West Ham. West Ham will have moments where they will try and come out and play and get their goal, which will leave some space in behind. And if Kane and Son keep their quick play up between them, I can see them punishing West Ham and maybe knocking West Ham back down to a bit of reality. So I'm going for a comfortable Tottenham win in this one. Charlotte is also going for a Tottenham win. She has been just as surprised as I have been with West Ham's results. They could be taking a lot of confidence from those results though, and they could cause another little upset, but we both think that Spurs will do just fine and will see this game through and beat West Ham. And so we move on to the next game, which sees Leicester versus Aston Villa. I'm sure by now people have run out of ways to describe Villa's win over Liverpool. It was just fantastic. They have some great attacking players. Ross Barkley is a good addition for them. He loves to drive forwards with the ball, and that is something that worked wonderfully well against Liverpool. Leicester started the season well, 3 out of 3 wins, and then lost to West Ham, which kind of took everyone by surprise. I do think that Villa will try and press up themselves in this one and try and continue to build that confidence that they would have got from the Liverpool game. And I think that will start to open up some space in behind to allow Leicester to play their game. So I have gone for a Leicester win in this one. Charlotte's not so sure. She thinks these are two very good, equally matched teams. Much like the Crystal Palace and Brighton game, she thinks that they will cancel each other out and this game will end in a draw. And so we move into the penultimate game of this weekend. We have West Brom versus Burnley. And this is another bottom of the table clash. We have 17th coming up against 18th. Burnley have played 3 games. They've lost 3 games. They've picked up 0 points. West Brom have played 4 games. They have lost 3 and drawn 1. And that sadly was against Chelsea, where Chelsea just collapsed but came back strongly to earn a draw. We weren't too sure which way to go with this one. We both weren't overly confident with our choice. We're just not sure what this game is going to be. I think it could be a bit of a boring one. However, we have both gone for a West Brom win. West Brom have some good attacking players, and I think they could probably just about nick this one and give Sean Dyche more questions, really. So there we have it. West Brom to win for both myself and Charlotte. And finally, we finish things off on Monday night with Leeds versus Wolves. Bit of a mid-table clash here. Leeds sat on 7 points, Wolves sat on 6 points. Wolves have been a little bit inconsistent at the start of this season. They really need to start getting a good bit of form under their belts. Leeds have been playing very well and could easily have picked up more points than they've got. They played fantastically well against Liverpool. Were very unlucky to miss out on any points there. They played brilliantly against Manchester City, who haven't started the season well, but still they came out and performed and managed to pick up a draw. Nice little cameo there from Winnie behind me. But yeah, I think Leeds will continue that. I think that they will continue to surprise teams at the start of this season, and I am going for a Leeds win. Charlotte not so certain. Charlotte does think that Wolves can start to turn things around now and start to go on a bit of a run themselves. This could be end-to-end stuff in this game. I'm excited to see it, and Charlotte has gone for a Wolves win to round off game week number 5. So there we have it. Those are our predictions for this week. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your predictions are. And if you want to keep up to date with what's going on in this head-to-head as we go through the season, then please do hit the subscribe button, hit the like, that always helps us out, and do hit the notification bell so you are the first to see our videos as they come out. All that is left to say is thank you so much for watching. Do enjoy this weekend's football. Please do take care, guys, and we will see you in our next video.